Welcome everyone to the Tippie webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lindsay Strom, and I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement at the Tippie College of Business. The Tippie webinar series is an initiative of the Alumni Engagement Department. Our goal is to bring the knowledge and insights of our faculty and staff to you wherever you may be in the world. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Executive Dean Amy Kristof-Brown, who will provide a State of the College report covering the past academic year and ensuring exciting prospects for Tippie's future. But before we start, like I said, we have a lot to cover today, and we'll do our best to address your questions at the end. Feel free to email the Dean with any questions that we do not answer during the Q&A session. Also remember that all of our virtual presentations, including today's, will be on the college's YouTube page with closed captions a few days after the live webinar. Your thoughts are important to us, so please stay to the end till the end for a quick survey after the Q&A session. Your feedback helps us enhance our virtual programs. So now I'd like to quickly introduce Amy Kristof-Brown. She has served as our Executive Dean of the Tippie College of Business since 2020, and she has lots to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to her.
That sounds great. Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. I asked Lindsay to be quick on the introduction so that we could get to the material and dig into our content. Thank you for joining me today for our State of the College webinar. We started doing this back in, I think, 2021, and it's really become a way for me to get information out to people interested in the Tippie College at large. So I know we have some current faculty, staff. I know we have advisory board members. We have friends, supporters of the college, and alumni. So thank you all for joining us today. As you'll see on our first slide, we are celebrating this year our 25th anniversary of the naming of the Tippie College of Business. So many of you were graduates from the College of Business at the University of Iowa, but the people who have graduated in the last 25 years are all alumni of the Tippie College of Business. And so we are really excited to celebrate that. And you've got some other milestones that are happening during this year as well, such as our Hawkinson Institute, our Krause Fund, and our Institute for International Business is also celebrating an anniversary. So thank you all for joining us today, and we'll dig in. First thing I want to get to is what people are always asking me about. How is the college doing in terms of our rankings? So we don't pander to the rankings, but we do spend time reporting them to you so that you have an idea of sort of what's going on in the college. And I want you to feel very confident that the Tippie College of Business is one of the premier colleges of business in the United States. We consistently rank in the top 10% of over 1,000 accredited business schools. And the accredited business schools are the ones who are already in the upper echelon of business schools across the world. We're consistently in the top 25 for all of our programs, undergraduate, part-time MBA program in US News. And we've recently been really excited about our placement in places like Fortune that really singles out our online programs, whether it's in business analytics or our Masters of Business Administration. We've also been very pleased to see that we have been singled out as a top program for veterans in both of our online programs, and our areas of accounting, business analytics, general management, entrepreneurship, and economics have all been singled out as programs of distinction in the US News and World Report, as well as Princeton Review. So really high quality programs, great feedback. These are all based on reputational rankings from other deans and also the things that we're doing in the programs. So we are very pleased and excited about how the Tippie College of Business continues to be viewed externally. We are also very pleased this year to report that we've just been reaccredited for another 5 years by AACSB, which is our largest accrediting body. You'll see on the screen, there's a quote from our accrediting team that came in. It was 3 deans coming from other peer institutions, as well as a separate accreditation for our accounting department. And they also just did amazingly well in this accreditation process. They were very, very positive about what they saw. And so we were really pleased to get that sort of external seal of approval, which lets us know that we're doing things well and gives us some ideas for areas to improve. One of the things that I started when I began as dean in 2020 was really thinking about how do we make this college not just an excellent place for scholars and for students, but how do we really make it open for business? And so a lot of what you'll hear today are ways that we have been thinking about how do we get the products that we have to deliver to our students and to deliver to employers. How do we really get that in front of partners that we can be of assistance to? How do we become truly open for business in the state of Iowa and beyond? Our mission has not changed. It is to provide business education and research to produce bold solutions for a diverse and changing world. There are many ways that we seek to accomplish this, but these are the top 5 strategic priorities that we have really been pursuing for the last 4 years. Educating career-ready students to identify, collaboratively solve problems, and communicate solutions, to enhance our research capacity and reputation as thought leaders, to innovate for lifelong learning opportunities, to partner to promote economic, entrepreneurial, and community success, and to sustain an accessible, diverse, inclusive, healthy environment, both for working and for learning. So what I'm excited to talk to you about today is how we're doing on each of these 5 priorities, and then give you some ideas of where we're headed in the future. First, for educating career-ready students, I get asked a lot about enrollments. One of the things that we get asked about all the time is people are reading in the popular press, nobody's going back to college anymore, people are not choosing a college education, or a college education isn't worth it. That is something that we are absolutely really dedicated to making sure that when people come to the University of Iowa and the Tippie College of Business, that it absolutely is worth it for them. We want to make sure that everyone knows that no qualified Iowan is turned away. We pride ourselves on being both a premier institution, as I mentioned already in the rankings, but also very accessible. So no qualified Iowan is turned away. And we have acceptance rate at a level that we feel brings us excellent students, but not elitist students. So we are bringing students into studying fields of business to allow them, even if they don't have a background in this area, even if they're first generation students and they don't come from a family that has college educated parents or family members, we're making sure that the school is accessible to them. And so we do that in a number of different ways. One is our entry requirements, which we have not changed in the last several years. And we are still seeing increasing enrollments. We've also made our online programs for working professionals. I want to be clear, our undergraduate program is firmly based here in Iowa City, but our working professionals programs have really moved to an online format, and that allows people to access those programs from anywhere they are working or living anywhere around the world. We have very affordable tuition. The Board of Regents did just approve a slight increase in tuition today for next year, but that is very similar to what we've seen over the last couple of years. They've kept it at a pretty steady low rate. So we are still in about the bottom quartile in terms of in-state tuition for Big Ten institutions. At the Tippie College of Business, our students pay a slight premium. So our tuition, what I've given you here, is a little bit higher than what the University of Iowa tuition is across the board, because we offer a number of additional services to our students. So you see our undergraduate and our graduate resident and non-resident tuition, and you'll also see our MBA tuition. The MBA has been a really interesting price point for us. It has brought us a lot of students because many other online MBA programs right now are being priced at $75,000 in other Big Ten institutions, up to almost $120,000. By keeping our price point where we are, we feel that that allows us to really be more accessible to students from a wide variety of backgrounds. We also, on an annual basis, provide student financial aid of over $15 million. And that is just what comes from the College of Business. In addition to that, we have several million that goes out in terms of private scholarships. So we are really trying to keep our premier programs very accessible, very affordable to our student population. President Wilson is pretty famous for saying that we only have about 50% of students at Iowa graduate with any debt whatsoever. And that debt is around $28,000. So when you read things in the paper that are about astronomical student debt, that does not tend to apply to students at the University of Iowa. At least on average, it does not. We have seen continual student growth over the last several years. If I extended this chart out longer, you would see even more growth. But at this point, we are looking at very nice, sustainable increases in both our undergraduate and our graduate program. We have leveled off our graduate programs slightly in the last couple of years, and that is just because we had such a large bubble that came to us during COVID when everybody switched into online programs. And so we've been making sure that we get that set of students graduated with a really high quality program. And now what you'll see is in the next couple of years, a continued increase in that number in our graduate program, as well as our undergraduate programs. This fall, we are anticipating another year of record enrollments. We are really, I have to say, Caitlin did a phenomenal job over the last year, making sure that Iowa was in front of a lot of eyes. And she, being a Tippie student, certainly brought a lot of visibility to the Tippie College of Business. We are seeing nice, steady growth in our enrollments. Our first year acceptances, these are students that come to us as freshmen. First year students, we're up over 600 again this year. You can see our population, we're slightly higher in non-residents than we have been in the past. And again, I think that goes to our brand recognition nationally. Our standard admits, which are students that come to us either from other majors at the University of Iowa, or maybe transfer in from community college or come from another university, those also have continued to climb. So that's an area that we're particularly excited about because we know that they're choosing us really after they know places that they've been that they've said are just not meeting their needs, and they see that the Tippie College can do that. So we are well on target to reach our 4,000 undergraduate students by 2026. In terms of creating students that are career ready, one of the exciting things that we've added in the last year is our career services unit within the Tippie College of Business. And they are meeting with students, talking to them about internships, job search. They're curating this last year. They curated over 2,000 leads, specifically curated to students based on their major. We're offering an internships course to help students when they have internships to really reflect on those experiences and get the most out of them. We're doing digital resume assessment and editing, making great use of AI tools in addition to the staff that we have working with our students. And we're helping to provide funding for student org trips so that when they go to visit a city, that they are able to go and learn more about career opportunities with the financial assistance coming from the college. So we're seeing some great outcomes. One thing we want to do is make sure that we're hearing back from students about what their first destinations are when they leave the Tippie College. And we were getting some pretty terrible response rates, frankly. In 2023, we only had 2% of our students were filling out that survey. Now we're up to 50% with the work of our Career Center. So we're continuing to try to get better data from the students so that then we can better serve them. Right now, in the data that we have, which was about 50% of the students, we have 41% that they had received a job offer prior to graduation. And then that number jumps about 20% when we ask them, will you have an offer within that 0 to 3 months post-graduation? We'd like to see that number continue to rise. I'd like it to be easily above 50% by next year, and then moving up into the 70%. That would make it really highly consistent with the top business schools in the country. So we still have some work to do in career services. That's an area we really want to invest in to help our students get the best possible opportunities put in front of them. In graduate education, we made some bold moves several years ago. In 2017, as you'll see in this Wall Street Journal piece, we announced the closure of our full-time MBA program. That was the first in the Big Ten. It made news and it raised a lot of eyebrows. What were we doing if we were closing this program, which was very high visibility and a very high quality program at the time? It had shrinking numbers of students and we knew the market was declining. So in place of it, we opened 2 specialty master's programs, our master's in finance and our master's in business analytics. And then in 2019, we launched our online MBA program. Now we have been very excited to see we are leading the story about what has happened in graduate education. These are 2 excerpts, one from the Financial Times, which is a worldwide publication, really highlighting us. We were the lead of the story about U.S. business schools facing a shakeup in the MBA market. Poets and Quants, which heavily is geared towards other academics, faculty members, but also prospective students, had their headline, Incredible Iowa, how the Tippie College got back in the game after ending its full-time MBA program. So we are so pleased with the press that we have had. We are pleased that people are noticing what we've been doing, and they're really responding to this map. This is a map of where our online MBA and Master of Science in Business Analytics students are located. You'll see there's a lot of them in the Midwest. We certainly still keep a lot of our focus here, but we are also making great headway on both of the coasts, down in Texas, and also up in Washington and Oregon. So we're really seeing this spread, this excitement. We are seeing less and less students who actually had an undergraduate degree from Iowa or had a family member at the University of Iowa. We're seeing students that now find us in Fortune's top 10 online MBA programs, and they look at our price point and they say, I picked the highest quality program that I could afford, and that was the University of Iowa. So we are really excited about this. If you know people in Delaware and West Virginia, they are our last 2 states that we don't have someone in at this point in time. So please make sure, talk to your friends in Delaware and West Virginia. We'd love to bring them in. This time next year, I'd like to be saying we're in 50 out of 50 states. This was also a statement that came from our external review team for our accreditation, and I'll just let you read that for a moment. I love the terms masterfully executed. These are all deans at other peer schools that have phenomenal programs. And when they say things like this in their evaluation, they are really acknowledging the tremendous work that our teams have done to make this kind of improvement and change at the Tippie College. Degrees in the graduate space lead to jobs as well. I want to focus specifically here on our full-time programs. This is our MPhil is Master of Finance, and then Master of Business Analytics. These are programs where these are still full-time students that are here in person in Iowa City, and they are really just seeing some phenomenal placement rates. So we are very excited about how those programs are helping students truly become career ready. For our working professional students, we don't tend to look at placement because those students are already working in jobs, but we are seeing some phenomenal growth in their promotions, their change of job types. Many of them are career shifters. And so we're seeing some very nice data on that as well. Really making sure that students are getting the skills that they need to make career transitions when they're ready. I'll talk briefly about enhancing our research reputation. That was our second strategic priority. What you see here are all faculty members who are meeting with Patricia Tippie when she was here for a visit this last spring. And these are all faculty members who are supported by funding from the Tippie family. And it makes such a phenomenal difference in terms of the quality of the product that we can provide our students, the quality of the research that we generate to have that kind of faculty support. This was another statement from our accreditation team. Tippie is clearly in the upper echelon of the world's business schools. Those are the kinds of words that just make you so proud that this is the kind of place that we have in the middle of Iowa City, in the middle of the country, really pulling some of the top scholars in terms of the types of work that we're producing in thought leadership. We have seen some growth in faculty, but this is frankly a challenge. Right now, it is a competitive market for faculty, and we have over 30% of our faculty right now are of retirement age. What that means is over the age of 55, which to me seems extremely young for retirement. But it is true that we have a lot of faculty that sit in that age category, and that's true across the board in the professoriate right now. This is something that we work on steadily. We brought in over 60 job candidates last year to be able to hire enough people to replace and then grow a little bit in our tenure track faculty. We also have our instructional track faculty. That has become an increasingly large percentage of who we have teaching in our classes. Many of those individuals are folks who come to us with tremendous industry experience, or they also have a degree, terminal degree in their particular area of expertise. They do not have research in their portfolio, so they are focused exclusively on teaching and service. And so we have really needed to hire in the instructional track faculty category in order to be able to meet the growing needs of our enrollment. We will continue to see these numbers go up to face our increasing enrollments because we're trying not to increase class size. One of the unique things about our online MBA program that has really pulled students in, it's not just the cost, it's not just the quality, but it's also the fact that we keep our class sizes small. And that is an indicator of quality in some of the rankings. We are teaching class sizes that are an average of 39 to 40 students. We have some of our larger competitors are teaching classes of 600 students in an online section. So we are doing this in a way that is certainly not the most scalable, but we really believe it gives us the highest quality product to provide to our students, and the student response is really indicating that they appreciate that. I want to just highlight some of our truly noteworthy faculty news from the last year. Some really exciting things happening for Professor Amy Colbert. Many of you know her. She's been selected as one of the 2 University of Iowa Distinguished Chairs. This is university-wide award, so that's tremendous. Our Associate Professor Rong Su was selected as a Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology Fellow. So that means that is the highest level of status in her professional society that you can reach. We have Eric Lee, who's our Amelia Tippie Chair, just published this book, and I highlight the cover so you can go out and take a look for it if you're interested. A book on wealth management, which is geared to empowering individuals with practical knowledge. So he's doing top tier level academic research, but also publishing very practical oriented advice on areas of finance. So we're excited to announce that book and encourage you to consider it. And then Sam Buer, a Tippie Rollins Professor of Business Analytics, just recently one of their best paper awards from the SIAM activity group on optimization. He's one of our top people in optimization and machine learning, and he's just getting recognized nationally and internationally for the research that he's doing. So terrific thought leadership continuing to come out of the Tippie College of Business and be recognized throughout the country. We also have made it a big push over the last several years of communicating this expertise. This is part of our idea about being open for business, is it's not enough to just publish articles for other academics, but how are we getting that information out to the rest of the general public? And so we've invested some resources in the last couple of years on our communications team, and you'll see our overall number of media hits has just continued to climb over the last several years. We are at an all-time high in terms of what our publicity has been, and that just brings in incredible reputational effects. When people are talking about and reading about the University of Iowa, Tippie College of Business, and the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, when they're reading about it in USA Today, that makes people familiar with us, and that helps drive our enrollments. It helps drive our faculty recruitment, and it certainly helps bring prestige to alumni of the Tippie College of Business. Our third priority is to innovate for lifelong learning. If you haven't been to Iowa City recently and seen this beautiful sculpture, this is a sculpture called Natural Pearl, and it sits prominently in the middle of our courtyard right now, and it's such a beautiful piece. And I think it's really nicely sort of representative of the fact that throughout our lives, we are just continuing to innovate. We're layering knowledge upon knowledge and becoming better able to adapt to the world that we're living in. And so we want to be a partner at the Tippie College for people, not just for their undergraduate business degrees, but how do you learn from us throughout your lifetime? Couple of things that we've done in terms of exciting new programs. We have really, again, opened that door to business. We launched our risk management and insurance major. I told you about this last spring, and we were really excited to get this one started. We hope to hit about 30 to 40 majors in our first year. We have 199 majors in risk management and insurance in the very first year. We've already graduated 64 students with a major in risk management and insurance. It has been phenomenally successful. Our enrollment in the classes are up 200 to 300%. The Des Moines Register is talking about us. You'll see below Jim Lewis. He's our new executive director. This time last year, we hadn't even hired him, and now he's making the first page of the Des Moines Register, talking about what we're doing in Iowa and in the industry sector of risk management, which is going to be such an important part of the Iowa economic profile, frankly, and have such an impact across the state and across the country. We've also seen wonderful company investment. In the past, we haven't had a lot of companies specifically providing support, financial support for programs. We have had much from the accounting industry, but we haven't seen it in other areas. And so this is some terrific new company investment. So we call this non-tuition based revenue. This is revenue that the students aren't paying, but we have companies that are saying, you get us more talent that we want and that we can employ, and we're going to help you do that. So we're putting their dollars to good use, making sure that we're expanding programming, expanding our faculty, expanding our outreach for these 199 new majors in the area of risk management and insurance. This fall, we have some terrific innovations in entrepreneurship. Last fall, we launched the risk management and insurance major. This fall, we launch a specifically business entrepreneurship major. We are very excited to get this started. It's an interdisciplinary major within Tippie. So all of these students will have the fundamentals of finance, accounting, marketing, management, business analytics, and then they will specialize in entrepreneurship. We are also launching, there'll be more news to come on this. We're launching what's now going to be known as the Hawkeye Ventures Fund. This is a new investment fund that people will be allowed to invest in. And then we will subsequently invest in Hawkeye-owned startups. And this is current students or faculty, but also alumni businesses. We're going to have a terrific team starting this up and really think about a way to launch ourselves onto the scene of having a terrific ventures fund. Most of our Big Ten peers have a fund, and that's something that we've been trying to do for the last couple of years. This is a great way to open ourselves up to new businesses and help continue to support alumni throughout their development of their companies. The economic impact of entrepreneurship is something we continue to measure. How many startups are we helping? What kinds of new jobs are we creating? And then simply consulting with small businesses across the state of Iowa. We've got exciting things on the horizon in terms of educating people, not just in an undergraduate degree, but also all the way through their careers in entrepreneurship. In accounting, we have an exciting new development as well. We have always been a very strong public accounting program, one of the top in the country, with phenomenal CPA pass rates. But we have also listened to what our employers across the state of Iowa are asking for. And they are saying we need corporate accountants, and we can't always wait for them to come through a public accounting track and then decide to go into corporate accounting. So our department has worked very closely with our PAC, which is our board of advisors that comes in and works with accounting specifically. And this is a great new track that we're putting together to help address that shortage of accountants. We know that this is not going to make some difference. It's not going to solve the problem completely, but we're going to continue to work with what's going on with the CPA boards and trying to figure out how do we encourage more people to go into accounting, and corporate accounting is a great way to be able to do that. So we're excited about this. We'll be talking more about it this fall coming up, but to give students a pathway that doesn't require the 150 hours that sitting for the CPA exam requires is a really nice option for students interested in accounting. We also continue to offer our lifelong learning. We have called them Tippie alumni webinars in the past, but what we know is that there are now thousands of people watching these webinars, and they are not all our alumni. So we know when we launch a webinar like today, it goes onto our Tippie YouTube channel, and then you can access that at any point. So you can go back and learn about creating a resilient supply chain. You can hear real talk about AI or risk management 101. One of our most popular topics was toxic bosses. So if you're interested in that one, be excited. That's going to be, that's one that we're going to hear more about. And that's a little teaser, but I'll tell you more about that coming up. There's some great topics on this webinar page that we have, and it's a way for you to continue to go back, learn about topics, easy access from anywhere you are. And many of these we also have are focused on career changes. Negotiating a new job, negotiating a new salary, pivoting your career, interviewing for a job. So we have a lot of our career-focused information also in webinar form, which could be really terrific if you're interested in those topics at the point that you might need them. Partnering for economic success, that's our fourth in our strategic priorities. This is a picture of our team, including our first insurance graduate right over here standing behind me. And this was at the Iowa State House during Hawkeye Caucus this last year. And we are just so excited about the inroads that we've been able to make across the state. Our strategic partnerships just really span so many different directions. This is all about opening doors. On campus, we have partnerships with most of the major colleges in medicine. We help educate them, and we help work with them about the business of medicine. Throughout the state of Iowa, our JPEC Venture School is making an impact. Our executive education, heavily led by our Tippie Leadership Collaborative, which will come in and do customized education for companies, but also bring together areas. We have the Iowa City area businesses that have partnered to send students for executive education. We have a great partnership with the GIA, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then we're also connecting just around the world with our Global Scholars Program. Every year, we now host a delegation from the Kenyan Judicial Service, from the University of South Africa, and we're just getting ready in about 2 weeks to welcome our newest cohort of the Mandela Washington Fellows in the summer of 2020. Actually, it should be 2024. Sorry about that. I didn't update that from last year. This is our 8th year that we've been bringing in our Mandela Washington Fellows. And so they are terrific. They represent a number of countries around sub-Saharan Africa. And we've actually hired someone to help work with the alumni of that program, because we have over 100 alumni of the Mandela Washington Fellows program in sub-Saharan Africa, launching businesses, working with students. They help lead virtual internships for our students, and they're just a terrific cohort that we continue to work with and are very excited about. This is a very crowded slide, but it was the only way that I could get in a collection of the corporate and community partners that we are working with across the state and around the region. There are so many terrific partners out there that we have been able to really connect with, and we're working with them on anything from bringing them in as guest speakers in classes. We are linking them with our Tippie Career Services. We're having them present us with projects that our students are working on in experiential classes. They're hosting student trips. They are doing the kinds of things that they need to do to get their name in front of our students. And we're making sure that we have students that are really prepared to step in and work with these companies. One of our best partnerships that I'm so excited about is with the Global Insurance Accelerator. This is a group we just launched with them last year. This is an accelerator for insurtech startups in Iowa. And so we have brought together the expertise from our Vaughn Institute of Risk Management and Insurance and our JPEC, our Entrepreneurial Center, to bring together curriculum and mentoring and startup opportunities to really work with these startups that are thinking about launching businesses, hopefully in Iowa. But even if they don't stay in Iowa, they are companies that have had a great experience in Iowa at the startup of their new ventures. So it's a terrific partnership to have with them, bringing us some really excellent visibility and also just opportunities for our students to learn about the exciting things that are happening in insurance and insurtech. Our last strategic priority, and last not because of importance, but because that happened to be where it fell in our list, it is our accessible, inclusive, and healthy environment. We take this very seriously. The culture of Tippie is one of the reasons why people want to be here, and that's everywhere from the community feel of our undergraduate program, which even when we go up to 4,000 undergraduate students, will still be in the smallest third of our Big Ten peers in terms of size. So we are still a small community feel for our students, and we hope to have that for our faculty and our staff as well. We are really focused on how do we make sure that we are accessible. We've doubled our Gateway program in terms of students. This is our high school program where we're bringing in first-generation students, students who have traditionally not been represented well in the business community, but bringing them in and having opportunities for them to learn about what it means to go to a college of business like the Tippie College. And this year we've had phenomenal, we doubled the number of students in that program last year with thanks largely to John Deere and PwC that are our great corporate partners for those weeks. And we have almost 40% of those students have now accepted enrollment at the University of Iowa. So it's a tremendously impactful program that gets in front of students that might not feel like they're quite ready to go to a Big Ten school, but we are telling them you are ready and we're excited for you to be here. I've mentioned already our Mandela Washington Fellows. We've also had a big focus this year on increasing physical accessibility in the building. That's something that we're always paying attention to, whether it is making sure that our restrooms are accessible, or even to the point we now have emergency rescue chairs up in our 4th floor rooms in case there's an elevator breakdown and we need to get people out of high floor meetings in case of an emergency. So we're doing all kinds of things to really tackle this across the board. And we continue to have just a phenomenal set of faculty and staff that we try and recognize and celebrate, whether it's through an event where awards are presented. We also document a lot of our faculty and staff achievements now in our electronic bulletin boards throughout the college. So anytime you walk through the hallways in PBB, you will see some of the great things that our faculty, staff, and students are doing. It's a great way to celebrate them and celebrate the excellence that they bring to work and to school every day. This was a final quote from our accrediting team talking about the positive experiences that our instructional faculty have reported. Hearing that your faculty are talking to outside reviewers and telling them that they feel like highly valued partners who are respected by the college is really very heartwarming and very encouraging for us that we're doing things that make all of our faculty feel invested in a part of what we do. Oh, this was a picture from our faculty and staff awards banquet just this last spring. You'll see we have a lot of partners that say we can't get people to come to work. We can't get them to come into the office. And even though we have a set of employees that are working remotely, when we have events like this, we bring everybody in and we get them together, and they love celebrating each other and really hearing about the great work that's being done in the college. So a couple of things looking ahead. I always get the question about AI. We've had a big focus on this over the last year. Our Senior Associate Dean, Barry Thomas, is heavily involved with the university initiative in this space. And we are doing things already to make sure that all of our students are coming out of our programs with experience with AI, understanding how to use it, understanding how to make it a way that they can use it as a tool to be a more effective employee for their companies. So we're adding modules to business analytics, our core courses. In our communications classes, we already embedded assignments. We did that back in January of last year, so that we could have people ready to go and know what students were doing using things like ChatGPT, so that they're doing it in a way that is helpful to them and not harmful to them and their companies. We have faculty that are really experiencing how do we enhance our teaching? How do we figure out ways to show the use of AI as a tool for our students so that they can learn more effectively? I often get asked, am I concerned that it will replace our faculty? I do not believe that it will, but I believe it can help our faculty and making sure that they're really being able to respond to students, assess student needs, and get them the material that they need in the way that they need it. We're adding it into our MBA program as well and providing some support to really help infuse it throughout the college. We're looking at AI electives that'll be launching this spring. That's the time that it took us to get them ready, but they'll be exploring this spring. We would love to launch an AI graduate certificate in that MBA program and make it open to individuals as well. And just looking across the board, how are we getting AI content into all of our classes? This is a comprehensive approach to making sure that our faculty, our staff, and our students are all educated about how AI can be beneficial to them. That means recognizing the drawbacks, but it also is highlighting how it can be useful and how to use it ethically. A couple of other initiatives that I'm excited to talk about and answer questions about. We have been investing in what we're going to call storytelling at Tippie. Nick Westergaard, that you see in this picture, has led our Story Lab, which is a really intensive storytelling experience based very much on the Iowa Writers Workshop and the ideas of sort of presenting a story and then having a group of peers dissect that and analyze it and question it and tweak it and shape it to become a better story. So Nick has now led these intensives in our undergraduate program, our MBA space. He's offered it for faculty and staff. And this has just been a really exciting way to think about how do you learn to tell compelling stories? We now know that that makes a huge difference as a leader. It matters how you can tell the story of what your college is doing, what your company is doing, what your new change initiative is going to lead to. So storytelling is something that we are trying to embed throughout the curriculum. And this fall, we have a new Tippie podcast that's coming called Tippie Leads. And Nick is going to be leading that. And this gives an opportunity for faculty and alumni to share their stories. And the first one I just saw, the sneak peek of one that will debut this fall on toxic bosses. And so terrific opportunities to hear people's stories. And as we can teach our students how to tell stories more effectively, that's going to help them tell their personal story in a job interview. It's going to help them tell the story of their products to clients. It's going to help them tell the story of the organization that they're leading. And so we're really trying to build on that University of Iowa story background and bring it into our business curriculum. Next fall, we will begin really integrating economics. We are already starting to have this happen. We have 3 current economics degrees. There's a BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration in Economics, that are Tippie majors. And then there's also a BS and a BA degree that's offered out of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. We teach the vast majority of those classes. And so next fall, we will be welcoming them in as full-fledged students in the College of Business. They'll have access to our advising. They will have access to our writing programs. They'll have access to our career services. So this is an exciting time for economics at the University of Iowa. We're working on plans to bring them in and working on hiring new faculty. That's part of our recruitment efforts to make sure that we're bringing them in. And as we bring them in, to really think about our undergraduate curriculum and updating and making sure that it is going to be really state of the art, ready to take these students into terrific opportunities in the future. The last thing that I want to talk about is our comprehensive campaign. Many of you know that the University of Iowa has launched a campaign that is a $3 billion campaign, and we're a large part of that. So I often get asked, what are your top priorities in this campaign? And we have three. They are transformative spaces, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Our world-class faculty, because that determines the quality of the product that we can offer our students, our corporate partners, and our other partners throughout the university. The quality of our faculty really determines that. So we are premier in many ways because of the faculty that we employ. So making sure that we can keep competitive salaries, which has been a big push for us over the last couple of years, and great support for their research. And then the last priority, again, not last because it's last in our hearts, but it fits best on the bottom of the page here, is developing the next generation of business professionals. These are our students. These are all the people that we're trying to find ways to get them great experiences. We need to get them greater access, continued emphasis on scholarships. In our undergraduate program, we have our RISE initiative, which is transformational experiences for students, whether it's research, internship, study abroad, or experiential classes where they're working with a company. Those are the kinds of things that we want to make sure every student who walks through the door has access to do that. And that requires additional support for funding those initiatives. We're interested in student wellness, whether it's mental health, whether it is food insecurity. We are doing lots of things to make sure that students have community building opportunities and give them a great experience where they can really thrive here in the Tippie College. And then, as I've already mentioned, really escalating our career services so that when those students step out of the graduation ceremony, they can walk right into a job fully prepared, ready to go, and knowing what they're doing. So these are our three priorities. I did want to share specifically about our transformative spaces or our transformational space area because we just got approval today from the Board of Regents to make these changes. So we are getting ready to start planning with an architect. Initially, we're looking at our second floor within the Papa John Business Building. That's the floor that currently houses our computer lab, which we know that just fewer and fewer students are using because they have laptops. 99% of our students have laptops. And so we're looking at revitalizing that space so that we can get students the additional kinds of support services that they need, whether it's in terms of supplemental instruction, such as tutoring or mental health services. Then we have been given the very exciting opportunity to modernize and annex Gilmore Hall. So those of you who have been on campus, and I know some of you may be online alumni who haven't been here, but this is our Papa John Business Building, and immediately adjacent to this building, sitting in that courtyard where I showed you Natural Pearl, there is a building that was the original College of Law at the University of Iowa. It's 115 years old. It is part of the original set of main campus that was built around the same time as the Pentecrest. And we are going to be stepping into Gilmore, annexing it to the Papa John Business Building, hopefully through a fabulous atrium where we can hold events and have all of you in person join us. But we will be able to partner with the university to modernize that building, to take it from a building that is expending vast quantities of energy right now to keep it running, to turn it into a building that is going to be sustainable and meet the needs of our future business students. So we are very excited about that opportunity. There are a couple of units that are still in that building that are going to need to move out before we can get in there. So that will probably happen starting in 2026, which gives us just about 2 years to raise the money to be able to do this kind of modernization. And so for all of you who are interested in thinking of ways to support new spaces and exciting spaces for the College of Business, we are very excited to talk to you about it because we now have the green light from the Board of Regents. We also have some green space across Clinton Street that we have reserved pending board approval that we will be able to take our entrepreneurial programs and give them some fabulous incubator space, building from scratch really what it is that they need. That's going to be a longer term project unless we have a lead gift that comes in that says, I want to build this incubator, I'm going to build this hub and really make entrepreneurship spectacular. So if you're interested in doing that kind of thing, come and talk to us about it as soon as you can, because we're excited to think about what we can do in that space to really fuel innovation and entrepreneurship at Iowa and economic development throughout the state. So we're excited about these kinds of opportunities and what they bring for us. So how can you keep engaging with us? Thank you, first of all, for being here today. I'm looking on my screen. I see about 140 people that have joined us today, and then the webinar will get posted on our Tippie YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch it later. So we'll have several hundred views of this webinar. That's a great way to engage with us. This picture is from our Chicago boat tour. We do that every 2 years, so it's a great way for us to get into downtown Chicago with some of our alumni. You can also reach out in most cases to our long-term faculty who are retiring, Kevin Keith retiring from management and entrepreneurship, and John Murray, who has taught in our marketing department for many years and just brought such terrific expertise. So if you know and love them, you can reach out to them and say thanks for all that they've done. I wanted to also acknowledge that we lost one of our treasured faculty members this year, Hannes Ledolter, who taught much of our statistics coursework, particularly in our graduate programs, passed away this last November. And so he has really left a hole for us that we are continuing to recruit to try to fill. But he is certainly someone who will stay with us for a very long time. I want to acknowledge two very exciting alumni that we are going to be recognizing this fall. And these are our Alum of the Year and our Young Alum, Distinguished Alum of the Year and Young Alum of the Year. We'll be acknowledging them September 13th. Brandon Miller, a partner at EY, and Rita Guzman, who is working at Northwestern Medicine, working as an educational coordinator. These are folks who reach out, they work with our students, they mentor, they provide insights for job opportunities, they're back talking in classes, they're serving on webinar panels. Brandon even served on our accreditation visit team. So really terrifically engaged with the college. And so we thank them and we'll recognize them at a ceremony September 13th in Iowa City. And we ask you to join us for some of these events. Chicago, we are having a Together Hawkeyes presidential reception. It's next week. So if you can join us then, feel free to reach out for more information if you don't have it. But we'd love to see you in Chicago. Put homecoming on your calendars. October 25th is our barbecue. We always have that out in our courtyard, hopefully, pending weather. And then the parade. It gives you a perfect vantage point for the parade. So it's a great opportunity to bring your family. The next day, October 26th, we have our game against Northwestern. And then you'll be seeing the president and I and several other leaders traveling around to some of the warmer places. Next spring, we'll be in Naples and Phoenix in February. And then we'll be back in Chicago and in Denver next spring. We also have the 10th year of our Tippie Women's Summit coming up this March. It used to be an in-person one-day event. Barb Thomas has taken that event and really elevated it. So now we do an entire month of programming, much of which is virtual so that you can access it from anywhere. So we are really excited about the opportunities that presents us to connect with our alumni. So think about connecting back with us. You can reach out at any point to Lindsay or to myself. And my last thank you before I sign off, I think we have 5 minutes or so for questions, is to thank you for One Day for Iowa. This is our big sort of one-day annual giving event. And this year we raised over $100,000, over 352 individual gifts to 27 different funds at Tippie. So thank you so much for helping us. A large portion of this went to our Excellence Fund, which helps support student teams, alumni programming, outreach efforts, peer mentors, a lot of the things that make Tippie such a special place. So if you're sending in $20, I'm going to give a shout out to my daughters who each send in somewhere between $5 and $20 of their own money to help support the Tippie College of Business. And so thank you for all of you who do that and help us continue to be the premier and accessible business college in the Midwest. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take some questions that Lindsay has.
Yeah, so we have a few minutes for questions if you want to go ahead and put them in the chat. I just want to give an update on the homecoming barbecue though, and if the weather's bad outside, we will be inside. So we will definitely be having that event. So I did get a question. It says, what will the new tuition be for the part-time MBA program? Is that the same as the slide you shared earlier?
Yep, it stays the same. We requested no increase to the online, and the part-time MBA program have the exact same tuition because students can take classes in either of the programs. The part-time program is based in Des Moines. And so if you have physical accessibility to Des Moines, you can get in there and take that program. The tuition has stayed the same. We did not request a tuition increase for that program.
So I have a couple more. So what is happening with the PhD programs?
What's happening with PhD? PhD is going great. Renee J. and Nick Street are still doing a tremendous amount of work in that area. We had a really nice yield year this year in terms of getting a lot of the students that we made offers to. The PhD market in terms of applications goes up and down with economic factors. So we had been in a bit of a slump the last couple of years. It's actually started to pick up a little bit, and we've had some really innovative programming. Our management and entrepreneurship department started something called a pre-doc. So you may have heard of postdoc programs. They started a pre-doc opportunity for students that were undergraduate students here with great research experience to get them familiar with PhD programs. So we're excited about that, and it had some great results this year. So really good things happening there. We've also reduced the amount of teaching that our PhD students have to do to give them more opportunities to do research, which helps the faculty member and it helps the student when they go on the job market. And this year we'll be having our second ever PhD alumni banquet. So Renee is planning that for the spring. So any PhD alums that are out there, be looking for the invitation for that. We started that 2 years ago, and we were offering them on an every 3-year basis. So our second one will be coming up this spring. I think she already has the date for it. So you can reach out to Renee and get the date for that. We'd love to see you back here.
Then another question we have from Dylan is the university exploring lifelong learning engagement through micro-credentialing?
Yeah, it's a very good question. The University of Iowa actually does have a page right now that talks about different classes and things that you can take on micro-credentials. We have started exploring that in the Tippie College. Right now, we've been investing most of our marketing funding around the Iowa MBA program because that's our biggest growth program at the moment. So we have not been marketing micro-credentials, but we've been partnering on some of those with other colleges at the university and thinking about ways that we could make them possible for our alumni. That's something that we continue to work on and think about what is the content that would be most useful to you and interesting to you in a micro-credential. And for those who don't know what a micro-credential is, it's a non-credit bearing interaction with faculty so that you're learning expertise, but you're not paying tuition and getting a credit that would go on a transcript somewhere. So if you're going to get a survey at the end of this webinar, and if you could put in there, what are some of the topics for micro-credentials that you'd be interested in, that's something that we're always interested in learning about.
Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. We're at 12:59, and we know we want to respect everybody's time. So thank you for joining us today. And like Amy mentioned, We will be having a survey at the end. Please take it. Your feedback is valuable to us. So on behalf of the Tippie College of Business, thank you for joining us this afternoon. And as always, go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Thanks, everyone.